Okay. Okay. Welcome, sisters, to our Prayers for Humanity, June 2023. And our theme today and this month is dissolving FEAR, fear, or false evidence appearing real. So before we dive into our topic for today, again, I apologize about the incorrect timing of the reminder email, and I thank all of you for joining me and those of you who gave me the heads up on that. Welcome to this month's gathering. We have a deep, I can feel sometimes the energy I go into when it's going to be a powerful transmission, and I can feel that's happening today. So we're going to have a deep dive into the exploration of a consciousness that is steeped in fear and how we can personally dissolve some of that through understanding of what it is and through intention and attention in a guided journey meditation. And knowing that as we clear our own obstructions to love, obstructions to our faith and trust in the divine, we actually raise our frequency and thereby serve humanity. So again, thank you for joining us. Welcome to those of you who are just jumping on the line. I'm going to introduce myself, and then Corey, for any of you who do not know who we are, I see many familiar faces, so welcome to all my beautiful sisters who are consistent in showing up and serving humanity in this way. And for those of you who may be new, welcome. It's a joy to have you with us. So my name is Dawn DelVecchio. I've been a priestess for about 38 years now, and I can always track that because it was about a year and a half after my son was born. That journey has taken me through many twists and turns, so I don't need to go into those here, but just so you know, my service right now, or my role, really is around supporting women in stepping into their sacred feminine leadership, or their priestess ministry. And that doesn't necessarily look like a platform of teaching such as this. It could be anything, but it's about really coming into the embodiment of their sacred sovereign energies. And it's something I've prepared lifetimes for. And it's something that I do now in a number of ways, from my Return of the Priestess community to my annual Return of the Priestess event, to my Mother Spirit Priestess Initiation Program, other courses, retreats, and of course, this monthly gathering I do with my dear sister, priestess friend, Q'orianka. So I'm going to share now a little about her. Q'ori is an Incan high priestess, medicine woman, and transformational guide for awakened women who want to step into their sacred destiny and live authentically in their divine essence. She comes from an ancient lineage of healing tradition of the Incan line. And in her work as a priestess, she continues sharing these ancient spiritual practices and teachings, and this is part of her ancestral legacy. Q'orianka is a midwife for the rebirth of women around the world into a life of purpose, and she assists priestesses, medicine women, and creatives to step into the highest level of leadership through ceremony based on traditional Incan and Amazonian medicine, in sacred retreats in Cusco, Peru, and through online retreats and sacred ceremonies. And again, of course, our monthly Prayers for Humanity gathering. So welcome, Q'ori. And if you want to welcome everyone and open sacred space for us.
Yes, gladly. Hello, everyone. Beautiful sisters. We are getting together to do great work. And let's do this. Let's get started by going within. We're going to close our eyes if that feels good to you. We're going to drop into our hearts, take some deep breaths. We can place our hands on our heart space. Divine Spirit of love and light, beloved teachers and guides, Pachamama amorosa, spirits of the great mountains of the four suyos, sacred teacher plants, beloved ancestors, great protectors, spiritual warriors, may you bring your beautiful, loving energy, your high frequency medicine, and surround us in all of this beauty and love that you are. May you inform these prayers for humanity. Bring your wisdom to us and help us do the healing work, spread the light around the world with all our hearts, with all our love, for the highest good of our global family, for the highest good of our own families in our communities, and for everyone involved. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
Thank you. And so it is. Oh, taking a deep breath, sisters, let us tune in now to our theme for today. Dissolving fear, false evidence appearing real. And the first thing that comes for me to share with you is a saying that I learned many years ago. I'm not sure where it's from, but I think the concept comes from A Course in Miracles, which is strongly what I'm drawing upon today. I have my book right here. We teach what we need to learn. So I wanted to share that because I want you to know, or I would like to reiterate that I have not necessarily mastered the things I bring forward. I share as I go, that I may lift as I rise. So by diving into and exploring fear as and reframing it from a very sometimes deeply limiting and anxiety inducing, health limiting thing to false evidence as appearing real, I want you to know that I'm a work in progress too, that this is not a reframe I've mastered, and yet I feel I've had enough practice to be able to be a conduit to bring forth these teachings, if you will, this concept. So this theme feels very relevant because there certainly is a lot to feel fear about these days on planet Earth. And when we look and observe the world through the 3D lens, whether that's watching the news, which I sincerely, heartfully hope that none of you do anymore, because not only is it false, it's extremely fear-inducing, but all the other things, whether it's war or scarcity or health issues, there are core triggers that the human has that will put us into states of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn is another one of those things where we basically kiss ass in order to keep ourselves or our families alive. That's the fawn aspect, to fawn over a dominator. So fight, flight, freeze, or fawn is part of the response of the human condition. Because when we are in the human condition, we are experiencing a dream of separation from that which we call God, and a dream of separation from our real potency as creator beings. So, so when we look at the world right now from the battlefield, so to speak, or with the 3D lens on, there's plenty to be afraid of, plenty to fuss and worry about. We can look in many different arenas and go, and freak out, including, and then when it hits home for us, right? When it's in our personal wheelhouse, when we personally have, as I heard one person say once, more month than money, or when we personally have a deep loss, as I referred to with my tech assistant, or when we are personally faced with a challenge that seems insurmountable, the fear can rise up very much and sort of consume our field. So, but it's not the only way to see or be in the world. I want to say that again. This is not the only way to see or be in the world. And that is why our theme today is dissolving fear. And that is what we're going to be unpacking. So what I would like to invite anyone to do right now, if you feel so inclined, is to go ahead and type in the chat some of the common fears that you may be aware of, or a fear you are actually dealing with. And you don't have to clarify which one it is. What I'm inviting here is kind of a collective data dump of some of the fears that tend to trigger us as humans and tend to limit us, constrict us, send us into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and therefore keep us, serve as an obstruction to our access to higher resourcefulness, to our creative potency that can solve any problem. Einstein was the one, I believe, who said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that we cannot solve a problem from the same mind that created it. And so by diving into and exploring fear as an acronym of false evidence appearing real, we already begin to step above and beyond the mind that created the fear or the collective sets of fears that tend to trigger us as humans. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about why it's important that we, at a personal and a collective level, that we begin to really dissolve fear and see it, reframe it as false evidence appearing real. Because fear keeps us locked into the old. There's another saying, boy, I'm like a walking dictionary of quotes today. Better the devil you know. So when we are just living our ordinary lives from a consciousness we could call 3D or ego-based consciousness, we are operating where the ego is mostly in charge, and the ego wants things to stay the same. The ego doesn't like change. It doesn't like uncertainty. It doesn't like the unknown. It doesn't want to jump into the void. Not that I'm suggesting we always do that, but sometimes a change means building the bridge as we cross it. It means reinventing something completely, whether that's ourselves, our careers, where we live, how we live. Anyone who's been through a divorce knows a little about this, right? So fear, when we are in fear, we will stay locked into the old. Better the devil we know. So it's a limiter. And fear, when it's chronic, ages us. We become old and weary. Because the energy we're constantly in the soup of our consciousness will eventually roll out into physical manifestation. So a fear frequency is a very, very low frequency. It's not quite as low as guilt and shame, but it's down there. Pretty low on the scale of emotions. So fear will age us over time. It will literally do harm to the body and limit the body. So it's a contracting energy that will get us, because when we're afraid, we'll go into fight, flight, freeze. We will compromise values in order to feel, to survive whatever we're afraid of. That's that fawning thing. We see many planetary leaders right now doing things that are so antithetical to morality, to caring for their constituents, etc. And many of them are likely compromised, held over a barrel through moral compromise. So, or they're in fear because their masters, overlords have got something over them. So fear contracts us, compromises our values, and can leave us with regret. So when we make decisions based in fear, they're often short-term decisions that will, in the long run, prove to be unsustainable or not necessarily the best course of action. Because again, fight, flight, or freeze, and there's lots of studies on what happens when we're in fight, flight, or freeze. Physiological phenomena. Most of the blood goes to the core of the body to keep us alive. We're going to respond to immediate threat, whether that's real or just perceived. We don't do research when we imagine the whatever the equivalent is of the lion at the door is there. If we're at the cave and the lion's at the cave, we're not worried about, do we have enough, bread for next week? We're like, get the lion, protect the family, run away, whatever. So that fear energy is constrictive. It's not necessarily rational. It's protecting against immediate threat. However, fear has been used as a tool to control us, to control the consciousness of the masses of humanity by those who benefit from keeping us frightened and small. And, this can be, we don't even have to go far into some kind of conspiracy discoveries here. We can simply look at, I'm remembering a commercial. When I visit my family, they have the TV on all the time, so I get to see, what's out there. A commercial for toenail fungus. Just to take it to the absurd toenail fungus, and like someone like having all this like fear and shame and covering their toes with their towel at the pool and all of this anxiety because they have toenail fungus. Okay. Fear sells. We know that fear sells. It gets us to do things, whether it's keeping up with the Joneses or making decisions that are bad for our long-term well-being, or staying with the wrong person because it's better the devil we know. So when we are controlled by fear, we cannot grow, expand, we cannot earn, learn, teach, create, inspire, or experience what we came here to experience, because we're letting fear dictate our choices. So to hold the power of our divine light, we cannot be hobbled by the grip of fear. So I'm sure I've made my point enough. I don't need to keep going into it. The fear is the piece that we are working on today. Now, there is a radically different viewpoint that I'm going to offer here for our consideration. And this comes from the introduction of A Course in Miracles text. So I'm going to just share the book here, A Course in Miracles. Many of you here are Course in Miracles students, or you know that I am. Here, I'm going to read the quote. So I want to invite you to close your eyes and take a breath and just receive this. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. I'm going to say it one more time. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal can exist. Herein lies the peace of God. It's a pretty radical perspective, because when we are looking through our physical eyes into the 3D world, we can say, what on earth does that mean? Nothing unreal exists? What are you talking about? This microphone exists, my hair exists, my crystals exist, this computer exists. What are we talking about here? So this is a perspective from the soul, from the God light that we are beyond this physical form. And I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole, because I realize that many of you are exposed already to these concepts. So for those of you who are not, please do write your questions in the chat box so that we can address them now, or I can create a video for it, or in some other way, kind of help you get up to speed with that. But the basic principle here is that perspective, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, is a perspective of what's called the non-dual understanding, or non-dual awareness, that we are all one, that we are having a dream of separation from that which we call God. God is love, which means we are love because God is within us. And so we are living in a dreamscape. Just like we go to sleep at night, we have dreams, we wake up and we go, wow, I'm so glad that was a dream. When we pass from this realm, we can wake up and say, wow, I'm so glad that was a dream. So that is the basic framework. That is the basic operating system from which I bring forward my work and from which I live my life. And from that perspective, we can look at many of the things that have triggered fear in us as false evidence appearing real. Because if this is indeed a dream, if we are indeed held always in the arms of a loving creator, then the injuries, the loss, the anxiety about being a bag lady, that's been one of mine as a solo female business owner, small business owner. These are false evidence appearing real, false evidence of something to be frightened of. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't take action in the world. Another quote I'll share with you is from one of my favorite Course in Miracles teachers, Michael Merdad, who's the spiritual leader of the Center for Unity Consciousness in Sedona. And he says, know the truth and respect the illusion. So we can put our shoes on in the morning and say, well, this is all a dream. Those shoes aren't real, so I'm not going to tie them, and then trip over them and fall on our face and say, well, it's only an illusion, so there's nothing really happening with this. This face isn't real. But we're still going to deal with the consequences of the bruising, the scratching, potential infection if we don't clear it up. So it's an interesting place to be, and we are reframing the concept of fear, yet recognizing that to respect the illusion means we still put gas in our car if we want it to run, if we want to go somewhere. We still tie our shoes. We still care for these mind-body vehicles that are our vehicle for having this dream experience. So when we say that false evidence appearing real, the nature of the reality is that we're in a dream. We're having a split mind. Part of the mind believes we're separate. What we're doing is we're actually re-engaging the higher mind that is connected with source, the higher mind that is connected with love, connected with that which we call God, the Holy Spirit, Divine Mother, however you want to call that. Our eternal awareness that we get reconnected with when we're not in the dream. So when we begin to activate that other part of the mind, the true mind, the right mind, the mind that sees the interconnectedness of all things, we remember that we're creating it all. And so when we remember we're creating it all, then we go, wow, well, if I keep a lot of my energy and time in fear, then I'm actually praying for bad things to happen. And at this time on the planet, with such an acceleration of the manifestation of timelines, it's extremely important that we do whatever we can to withdraw our life force energy from fear. And so that's where this idea of dissolving comes in. Many of us who are on the light path at this time, the light workers, starseeds, and priestesses who are holding the field of light for the Ascension timeline that we're on, we're doing a tremendous amount of clearing. And I'm sure each of you knows what I'm talking about in our personal lives. And clearing that fear is a big part of it. So that is the piece that we're going to journey into today, is a dissolving of a personal fear, and then offering that dissolving light to our sisters and brothers of Earth who do not have the resources internally to know, to understand, or to deal with this, because they're dealing with the imminent issues at hand, or because they've not yet been exposed to these concepts, these understandings of the love that we are. So I'm going to take a pause right now, and I want to just check and see if anyone's typed anything in the chat. Oh, wow, we got a lot of chats here. Okay, so we have some hellos. Hello to Joanne and Lori and Bridget and Dawn and Diane, Stephen and Janet, Adelina, Casey. Welcome everyone. Happy birthday to Selena. Okay, so Selena asked that her 93-year-old grandma be added to our prayers. Absolutely, sister. Adelina says, fear is another response. Fawning. Fawning is another response. HOA action. I'm not sure what that means. Is that something that's a fear that's happening? So Joy offers, yes, stuff, dealing with PTSD, which is a very multi-layered, complex aspect of that sets us up for lots of fear responses. And trauma will create and induce repetitive patterns of fear because the mind goes into reiterating those traumas. This is not a victim blaming. This is what happens. This is the psyche's way of trying to mitigate or avoid fearful or traumatic situations and in the future. And I have to meditate and also remind myself that I'm here right now and there's nothing to fear. Brilliant. That's exactly the power of the now moment to dissolve the fear. So yeah, I know, sister, you've walked through a lot and you're here to tell the tale because of the work you've done to clear a lot of the fear within you. Fear of other people's intentions is another one that's coming up here. Thank you for that, Casey. Yeah, there's a lot of nefarious intentions out there, and that can put us into fear. And that's where, again, we have to come to a higher order of perceiving the world in the recognition that nothing real can be harmed. And when we go to that, let me just tune in here. We may still have to take actions in the 3D world in order to protect, to defend, to protect loved ones, to navigate someone's ill will toward us or a family member. And we have a choice, believe it or not, of how we can do that. We can do it from fear, which is the training we've all been given to be in fear and to react to things or counterattack, defense, attack, which is a cycle of limitation and constraint. Or we can surrender it up to the Holy Spirit, God, Divine Mother, however you want to call that, and ask for higher guidance to give us new and creative ways to resolve, go around, work around, protect without being in the energy of fear. So it's not that we don't have external things that cause us trouble, but rather how we interface with it, how we make decisions around it, what frequency we're holding as we do that makes all the difference in the outcome and in our well-being in the process. So I hope that's helpful. Fear of a breakup turning into an attack. Yeah, again, so thank you for that, sister. That is, again, coming into a higher order of consciousness in order to make decisions that protect you against attack without being in the fearful defensiveness of when nothing is actually happening there. So that's, again, that respecting the illusion. Or there's another Islamic saying, pray to Allah. Yeah, pray to Allah, or Allah, as many people know, and tie up your camels. It's the same thing. It's going, right, what do I need to do in order to create a breaking up with someone in such a way where I am also safe from attack? So sometimes you have to create some strategic planning there and bring in supports. But again, if you're in the frequency of fear, the likelihood of making a long-term strategic decision that's a good one for all involved is less likely, because the fear will trigger more of an immediate, like, I got to do this now. I got to react to this. Another sister says, fear of financial future, fear of how my future will look and feel like amidst so many restrictions, fear of not living my spiritual path better since I got into reactivity. Yeah, thank you for those, Gina. Those are fantastic ones. And of course, they speak into the last 3 years and, the constant bombardment in the mainstream and social medias of fear porn. It's fear porn. And this is where we have to come back to, what is my true value here? And what decisions do I need to make that will support my mind-body vehicle, my family's mind-body vehicles, to the best of my ability, and then trust in the divine that those of us who are here to hold the light will be guided to the right people, places, circumstances. Because when we are in fear, it's that constriction again. So yeah, the financial future piece, sister, I just walked through a big one on this again, and this has been my biggest one. That's why I said at the beginning, It's not like I've mastered this. It's just that I've got some tools to share for us all to improve our ability to handle this. So, yeah, so for me, it was a couple of days of deep, like that constricted energy. And what I did is I reached out to a few trusted sister friends for their insight and support. I prayed. I did a lot of my Course in Miracles readings. I meditated. I asked Divine Mother for guidance. And I also looked around at all that I have and all that I am and all that I've managed to accomplish and how far I've come from a very constricted, very small money-minded family. And so it was a multifaceted, it was a full spectrum approach to lifting my vibration step by step so that I was no longer in the constricted fear. So it wasn't a one and done. It was a numerous thing for me. I hope that's helpful for you. Losing my home. Yeah, that is a big one. Again, same thoughts, multi-faceted approach here to deep spiritual practice, surrender to a higher order to offer and provide you with a creative solution to what's bringing fear up for you. Or maybe you're just putting that out there as, a fear that people have. And not making decisions about one's home in the state of fear. Fear of moving out of comfort zone. That's a big one. That is such a big one for many healers and light workers. Thank you for that, Jane. Because that's the better the devil you know, right? Well, what if those are the what ifs? Well, what if I put my spiritual gifts out there and nobody wants them? What if I invest in coaching and I lose my shirt? What if, and fill in the blank. And this is how we keep ourselves locked in to not actualizing what our souls came here for. And all of these, by the way, every single one of these is such a great one to bring to the meditation we'll be doing shortly of, dissolving that. So I'm going to be inviting you to really bring this up and bring the light of the divine in to start dissolving the knots that hook us into the fear energy. Yeah, not enoughness, not enough money, resources, food, water, healthcare. Yes, this is such a significant one, particularly, I don't know if it's particularly for women, because honestly, I work with women, so I can't say for sure, but in my experience of working with women for all these years, it's a common one that I see. Not enough, not enough, not enough. And this is a big, big healing we are all doing, is moving beyond that by healing it, by dissolving the belief in not enoughness, and by stop looking, I know that's not a proper sentence, but by stopping looking at the ego for the answers and instead looking to the divine within. And I see Joanne tapping in her heart. Yes, this is where the enoughness is. It's not here. Well, if I just do this and I put this money here and I do that and I save here and I prep this and I prep that, that's the ego mind trying to keep you safe from the lion at the door or the tiger at the door. That is not going to, it's never going to do it. We have to come to a higher trust. And again, that doesn't mean, well, I'm not going to do anything because, God's got this. There may be a point where for each of us in certain arenas, that's true. And it's possible to hold the high frequency of knowing that I am divinely held in all I do. When I am aligned with the divine and I work and operate and make my decisions based from love and not fear, I am held and supported. And I do truly believe that at this time on the planet, that is the nature of what's happening and where we are going. And when we make decisions based in fear, things start to contract for us. I'm just going to keep this job because it pays the bills. I'm not going to activate that sweet dream of mine of being a healer, practitioner, teacher, whatever, channeler, because this job pays the bills and then you lose the job. So it's about what energy we're carrying even though we recognize that we have these fears. Fear of another's response. Yep, the fawning. Tons of prayers and love to, your way, to you and yours, to Selena. Yes, much love going to you, Selena. Okay. Okay. So, so Joanne says it's alarming how the US takes one step forward and giant steps backwards. Dehumanization, division. How have we not learned our lessons? The fear mongering is at epic heights. Yeah, and I would argue it's absolutely intentional and strategic. And this is the other piece is when we look outside ourselves for the answers, for rational leaders, teachers, guides who are in positions of lucrative benefit to be where they are, we're looking in the wrong place. What we're seeing is the light on corruption. So corruption and limitation have been with us for, some would say, 20,000 years in different iterations. Certainly it's been with us as long as any of us have been alive. It's just that we're seeing it now, and it creates great fear. And the media is right now the actual mouthpiece for keeping fear alive, because when we are in fear, we will not make long-term wise decisions. We will not trust our higher guidance. We will not wake up. And when we wake up, we are no longer subject to those who benefit from our fear. And that's the bottom line. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay, we're getting lots and lots of these. So Casey quoted me, to hold the power of our divine light, we cannot be hobbled by fear. Yeah, there's many more things here, but I feel I want to, we're already at 40 minutes, so I want to go into the actual process now. So thank you, everyone. I hope that the some of the things I've commented on here have supported you in some of the reframe that will help with this meditation. So let us now, and one sister says, I'm really feeling a lot of the constricting fear energy today. So I'm glad you're here, because that's what this is about, is for us to help dissolve that. So make yourselves comfortable. If you feel safe to do so, you can close your eyes. And we're just going to take a few breaths together. So breathing in, come into the heart space. Breathing in there, and then breathing out. And breathing in, and as you breathe in, see in your mind's eye light coming into the heart space and expanding to the space around your chest. And as you exhale, see a release down through the body, through the base of the spine, of fear in any form, subtle or great. Breathing in light, exhaling fear. Breathing in light, exhaling ideas that trigger fear. Breathing in light, exhaling resistance of any kind to the your capacity to dissolve fear through your intention. Breathing in. Now, as you exhale, expand the light that you've been pulling in to form a bubble around your mind-body vehicle. And breathe in again. And as you exhale, let that light just emanate from your heart to support, expand, and strengthen that bubble or egg of light around you. And we're going to do this 2 more times. Breathing in. Exhaling. Feeling the strengthening of that permeable light, that shield, that love field all around you. Breathing in. And breathing out. We are the creators. We create with our intention and our attention. Energy flows where attention goes. And so our attention now is intentionally going to the light that we are, the divinity we are within, and the power we have to dissolve anything that does not serve us into the light of love. And so as you breathe now, I want to invite you to tune into somewhere in your body that feels the constriction of fear. Now, perhaps for you, this comes as the thing that you're afraid of first, and that's okay. We've looked at a lot of those fears already in this call. So bring that to mind, and with it, recognize where in your body that fear triggers constriction. So just taking a moment to breathe and to open your awareness field to become sensitive to where you feel contraction or constriction within the body-mind vehicle. No judgment. It could be more than one place. Just bringing awareness. Good. Now take that actual fear, whatever it is that you're fearing, and it could be something that's in the collective if you're not particularly in an energy of fear right now, and just place it out before you. You can imagine that it's standing before you or sitting on a table before you. So you're taking it out of that part of your body, if you feel it in your body, and placing it, like for me, I feel it between the heart and the solar plexus. When I think about money and financial collapse, that's where I get contracted. So I'm literally imagining I'm pulling that out of that part of my body and placing it on a table in front of me, just beyond this computer screen. And I'm just going to let it sit there for a minute. And now I'm going to tune into that part of the body where the constriction is. I'm going to place my hand there. So I invite you to place your hand on whatever part of the body where you felt that constriction. So for me, it's kind of those two energy centers and everything in between them. And now silently or aloud, tune your, as you focus in that area, say, I love you. And breathe in. And as you exhale, I love you. And breathe in. And as you exhale, I love you. One more time, breathing in. Exhaling, I love you. We are literally holding ourselves and loving ourselves just as a mother holds a child who is frightened. Now we're going to do this again 3 times, where we're going to breathe in and say silently or aloud, I am. And as you exhale, love. And pouring energy into this part of the body where you felt that constriction. Breathing in, I am. Breathing out, love. One more time, breathing in, I am. Exhaling, love. And now take a moment to notice that part of your body, if there's been any shift in the energy field of that aspect of your body-mind vehicle. Your energy body is really what it is, but you could have physical sensations as well. And just notice if there's any shift. What you've done is offered yourself and your central nervous system some comfort and support. And now we're going to go to the next step, which is to call upon our guides, angels, and master teachers in the non-physical to come close to us now. So call in your guides, come close to me now. I call upon Jesus and Mother Mary and Kuan Yin and Holy Mother Spirit Sophia to come close to me now. You call in who you want to call in and feel them wrap their loving arms around you. They are in the non-physical, yet they are right with us here. And they come with a loving embrace because they can see from a perspective far beyond ours. that we are eternal divine beings held always in the arms of God, loved without condition, creative beyond imagining, and eternally free. And let them pour their love now into that, starting in that part, that area of the body where you felt constriction, and letting it saturate your whole body. So with your mind's eye, allow yourself to see, and with your intention, allow yourself to receive the loving grace of our higher guides pouring their protective, loving energy into you now. Breathing to receive their loving support, their higher guidance, and their higher perspective of what's possible for you. And just receiving now in just the way that's right for you. And I feel the Master Jesus, who awakened in his Christed light in his last incarnation, coming to remind us that there is nothing to fear. Coming to remind us that we are the one self united with him, with our Creator, with our guides, and our higher self. Coming with great compassion and mercy for the children lost in the dream, frightened and longing for home. Coming with the light that guides us back to the remembrance of who we are. And feel the way that light emanates in and around you, for it is your light. It is the light of Christ consciousness stirring awake within. And let that little light shine brighter and brighter, expanding bigger and bigger. Let each breath, like a bellows, expand the flames of your light until you are within and surrounded by this beautiful flame of Christed light. That's right. And from this place, surrounded by your guides, held in the arms of God, held in the flame of your own divine light. In your mind's eye, gaze upon that thing, that experience, circumstance, or concern which had triggered your fear. Gaze upon it from the place of fearless light, of loving light. And witness how small it is when you see it as part of the dream of this dense realm. Yes, in your day-to-day life, you may have to make decisions to work with it. And yes, it is absolutely possible as a divine creator being to dissolve that, allowing the infinite possibilities to come forth through your guides and through you, to dissolve this issue or potential for the highest good in a way that serves all and in a way that is beyond your conscious mind's capacity to imagine. And so as you trust and know, standing within the flame of your own Christed light, your own love light, what's possible, let your mind's eye see that circumstance, situation, or fearful possibility to begin to dissolve in the light of love. in just the way that's right for you. See it dissolving rapidly, gracefully, easefully, now. Letting each breath be the very tool that lovingly dissolves until all that remains is the light of your own self. And as it disappears, we say, and so it is, and so it is, and so it is. And free now of that personal fear trigger, free in the light of your own divinity. Using your mind's eye, gaze upon the world, the earth, and all of life upon her, our brothers and sisters, the plants, the animals, the atmosphere, the waterways, the structures. See a particular area or the whole globe. See and remember that while Gaia is a conscious being and all of your sisters and brothers and the animals are conscious beings, we are yet beyond even the form that appears to be so real. And so, with the power of our collective intention, our collective love and care, let us beam our love light upon the earth now. Let it shine. Let it shine. That those circumstances that would harm or cause fear, that serve nothing and no one, be dissolved in a way that serves the highest good and honors the free will of all. Our conscious minds cannot know how, when, and wherefore this comes about. But what we do know is that our loving intention has the power to move mountains and to dissolve the illusions of fear that do not serve our planetary ascension. And so, in the way that is what right for you, offer your light for the dissolution of fear, as we remember it is but false evidence appearing real. And let that light, that flame of light, burn brightly, coming from the center of your being up to the third eye, so that you see and perceive light. This is the light of that which we call God, the light of love, the light of the you that is connected with our source, our divinity. And in that light are we one. And in that light is our love more powerful than the greatest false evidence appearing real. And take a deep breath into the heart. And as you exhale, let the energy come into your physical body, trusting and knowing that we have sealed a light field for ourselves and for the earth that we can return to at any time. Breathing in again. Exhaling, letting the blood circulate through your physical body, wiggling your fingers and toes as you prepare to come back into the room, into this space, into awareness of this present moment. Breathing in again. Exhaling, knowing that it is done, it is done, it is done. We are the ones we have waited for, and we awaken in the remembrance of love's presence, fearless in the light of the divine. Another breath in, and on the exhale, open your eyes, feeling fully awake, fully alert, back in the room. Thank you. Okay, that was a little bit of a long one. I hope that this serves you. I thank you for all of you who have shared. I want to offer you one more Course in Miracles, my lesson for today, lesson 155. I will step back and let God lead the way. So as we walk through our days in the next month until we gather again, actually it's less than a month, it's about 3 weeks from now, and through our lives, let us remember that that which we fear is part of a dream. And when we allow ourselves, with the tools we shared here and the other tools that we have in our spiritual toolkits, to step back and let God lead the way, let Divine Mother lead the way, let Jesus lead the way, let our guides lead the way, we have everything we need to overcome, go around, or dissolve fear. Okay, so with that, I would like to invite Q'ori to come back on and do a blessing to seal these energies and support everyone here.
Yes, with so much love, we start our prayer. Beloved Divine Spirit, Spirit guides, beloved grandmothers, grandfathers, thank you all for supporting us in this process of the dissolution of fear. And we want to ask you with so much love that the work we have done today may continue going around the planet, ripple effects may be all around, all the people who are ready to receive this transmission, may they all be awakened to the truth and reality of the light. May they dissolve fear, let it go with ease, and may we continue walking on this path in faith and self-trust with so much love. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is.
Thank you. And so it is. Thank you and blessed be. Thank you. Let us not underestimate the power of our intention. Where two or more are joined in my name, there is great power. Not my name, Dawn, in the name of love, in the name of God. And so thank you, everyone who has joined us. And just to let you know, our next Prayers for Humanity, Q'ori, I believe we confirmed this, right? Thursday, July 20th? I think we did.
Yes, July 20th.
Okay,
Good.
great. Good. Yeah, so July 20th. And of course, as always, you'll get emails either from Q'ori or me, or if you're on both of our email lists, you'll get them from both of us.
Yes.
Aliona says, when you said that fear was something minimal or small, when we looked at what was connected to the fear, I started to chuckle because I was shown my fear was stemming from me bumping the back of my head under the table when I was a child. Wow, that is a powerful breakthrough, sister. So just saying thank you for sharing that. And what a liberation. Blessed be. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And Sophia says, blessings and peace to all. So yes, thank you, sisters and brothers. If there's any brothers here, I think there might be one or two. Have a blessed 3-ish weeks until hopefully we see you again. And may you use this tool and all of your spiritual tools whenever you need to dissolve the false evidence appearing real. Many blessings. And bye for now. Much love.